Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Paige, this is Seeking Alexandria. I just looked in the viewfinder and I was like ghosted white. You guys, I wanted to make a good, short, quick review for you because a lot of my reviews lately have been like insanely long, and I know that in the next coming day or so, you're going to start my 2017 year-end review, and those are also long, so I wanted to kind of sandwich a nice shorter video in here for you. Short to me, probably not short to the rest of the world, joke's on me, whatever. But I wanted to review this for you. I've played with it for a little while now. It's been like a week and a half or so, and I wanted to talk to you guys about the Morphe Dare to Create. It is the 39A palette. It has been all over like any major influencer's channel already, and they've talked a lot about it. And again, I wanted to have some time to play with this because there were so many different textures and colors and variations in this palette, and I really just wanted to basically have like some me time with it, swatch, play around, blend. I'm wearing some of it on my eyes today. And I definitely think that I have accumulated some thoughts in the last week and a half using it. Now, my basic thoughts on this palette, I think that it's okay. It's definitely not my favorite. There are some aspects of this palette that I really enjoy. Just like everyone else, I love this row of transition shades. I think that they are amazing. I think they're beautiful. They blend out so nicely. I've also been using this palette in combination with the Morphe Gilded set, which is the gold set, trying to play with them, you know, see how I like them. As you guys know, eventually I'm going to put together a brush video or videos for you, so I was trying to get a feel for these, but a lot of these transition shades in the middle blend out so beautifully. I believe at this point I have used all of them. Yes, I've used all of them now, just to create different looks. The only thing that I feel like is really missing from this, it is very warm dominant, which I think is okay for certain aspects of the palette. I think it pairs very nicely with the top, but as far as the bottom row or bottom two rows go, I really feel like the cool tones they're not equally represented in the transition shades. I mean, there's a little bit that works with them, but not a lot. I'm sorry, by the way, my eye is leaking so bad today. It's like this eye, and it's just like, ah. So if you see anything funny and you're like, why does your face look weird? It's just that it waters ridiculous amounts, but I don't care. I still love eye makeup, and I'm still gonna film because I don't care. You guys have seen me way worse than this, so hey, everything's a positive, right? As far as the shades that I really love and gravitate toward, the mattes in this palette I've actually really enjoyed. In previous, you know, encounters briefly with other Morphe palettes, I will say that for me, the mattes are usually very nice. There are some that are a little chalkier, some that are, you know, a little bit more difficult to blend and finesse. One thing that really stood out to me a lot in this palette was this black shade down here. It is insanely creamy, and it's just a beautiful, like, I barely touched it, and it's just a beautiful matte black. I used it today on my outer lash, or on my outer V right here, and it just blends out very nicely. And if you go in with more of a fine pencil brush and place it and then kind of work it out from there, it stays beautiful, which I really like. The black is always an eyeshadow that I try to use multiple times because, especially in a palette like this, if you don't have a black shadow, you don't have anything, because all of these colors look beautiful when you blend them out with a black. So that was easily one of my favorite shades in here. Another shade that I was really drawn to was this orange guy right here. I really liked him. Very easy to blend out. It worked great in the crease as well as the upper crease. And then I even used it on like the outer V to inner area. It worked beautiful no matter where I put it and how I placed it, which was amazing. These two shades right here look beautiful alone or together. However, there was a day that I used this red shade, and I do not like this. Not only do I not like it, it's just, here, see that red right there? Like, I did not like it, and it does not look flattering on my eye, and I struggled to know. I think it would look beautiful on maybe a deeper complexion, not on me. It made my eyes look bloodshot. I've used similar colors to that before in the past, and no matter how I manipulate them, if I put them anywhere in like this area on my lid, they do not look good. Outer V, I can get away with it a little bit more as long as I smoke it out, but for the most part, not only did I not love that color just on me personally, I also did not like the texture. It is very chunky. and very gritty on the eye, and as I went to place it, there was a lot of fallout. That was something I had an issue with kind of consistently in this palette. Today I am wearing this turquoise color on the center of my lid a little bit, and it's like a hybrid between a very nice shimmery matte and that more chunky consistency. So I feel like there's a lot more inconsistency in the shimmers than there is in the mattes in this palette. So I think that it's okay. The one thing that really bothers me about this palette that I feel like it is missing above all else is a light shimmer, like even like a light gold or a light white or something like that. It's just something that this palette really, really needed to give you that pop. Like for my inner eye today, I actually went in with a golden Pat McGrath shadow and just kind of placed it in the inner corner because you need something to widen up your eyes. And when you have this much dark and this much protrusion going on, you really, really need something that you are able to get a pop from. And I don't find that represented in this palette, which is very frustrating. The other thing I like about it, I'm trying to go back and forth like pro con, pro con. The thing that I really, really like about it rather, I love the way that it's laid out. They put warms on the top, cold on the bottom, and they separated it out. Blue, green, red, purpley colors, and then browns and dark like mauve-y. There's like a dark mauve brown right there. But for the most part, very neutral area up in here as well as the transition. So upside, the transition shades in the middle are all, you know, very warm, like I said. But up here you do get a little bit of the cooler sense. But to me, I'm looking at this palette just as like an aesthetic, and I'm going, okay, I understand kind of why they're up with these ones, but like all these guys have like all these dark greens and blues and everything down here. They only have like a brown, like 1 and 2 browns, like right here. That's all they get to like blend them out, and it would be nice if there was maybe a lighter option for that. As an overall, would I purchase this palette again? For me personally, I can't say that I need it just because, you know, it does have a lot of things in it that I already have. As like a maybe a makeup enthusiast or someone that is curious about this palette, I actually do think it's worth a try. I think that you're going to need to find the best way for you personally to finesse these shimmers and kind of work with them on your own terms, because not all of them are like that. The one shimmer that I went in with, I believe I tried this one, like this one is just stunning and silky and gorgeous. Doesn't have any chunk to it. I mean, it's slippery like silk. It is so beautiful. It goes on like a dream. And then you get these other like chunky red ones that literally they just like look chunky and they feel chunky, and they're not as appealing. They have a much more gritty feel to them. So I feel like every person is going to have this palette and kind of manipulate it differently for not only their eye but also their personal aesthetic, which is, you know, good and bad. I feel like as far as the dark tones in this palette are concerned, a lot of them are pretty good. I'm a little disappointed with the dark shimmers on the bottom. I feel like this right here, he's just a really dark hunter green. Normally, I wouldn't have an issue with that. I would actually really enjoy that kind of color, but I'm not loving it in this palette. It comes off as like just a deep, dirty brown-green hybrid, and on the lid, it just looks dirty. It doesn't look like black. It doesn't look like green. It doesn't manipulate true to color. And unfortunately, that was true for that one as well as this one right here. And what was the other one? Was it this one? Yeah, these 3 colors for me, I believe it was these 3, were the 3 that I was like, wow, they're just 3 different variations of dirt on my eyes. And again, that's just me personally. They might manipulate amazing on other people, but for me, the reflect does not show up. This one is like a matte with weird glitter in it that I don't know. I don't like it. Those 3 for me are probably my 3 least favorite shades because they don't hold true to color, and again, they just don't look good on my eyes. But that's just me personally. That's like I said, it's very personal to your eye aesthetic, and I like my eyes to look open and more full and bright and wham, and those types of colors don't bode well for me. What was the other thing that I really loved about this? Oh, there's these periwinkle blue kind of colors, which I'm getting eyeshadow like all over my hands, so let's just, you know. But I wasn't as prepared as I should have been. But I love the variations on blue in this palette. Like, I think that they are super gorgeous, and I love that there are three very different tones that look similar in pan, or they even might look a little similar in swatch, but they really open up to be able to pair, like, oh look, a blue or more periwinkle color, that would pair beautifully over here. And it really lets you kind of develop a beautiful crease color, you know, fluff it out, as well as a concentrated lid color, which is awesome. But again, you are missing that lighter color on the inner part of your eye, or even to do a halo eye that would, you know, kind of make your eye open a little bit more. If you go in with any combination of these colors, what ends up happening if you don't add some kind of lighter color, you end up looking very squatty and closed-eyed, at least in my personal opinion and in the way that I've been doing my makeup recently. It's not exactly flattering, is I guess how I would probably best sum it up. And I was really excited at first because I saw this gold. What the hell was that? I saw this gold right here and it looks so light and beautiful, and I was so excited. And then I swatched it and it ended up being like this almost, like, don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, it has shine, I'm not saying any of that. But it has like this old school, like Hollywood gold, old gold is I think what it's commonly called. And it does not come off nearly as bright on the eye as what I was hoping for. I thought, okay, there's a gold in this palette that's going to be beautiful and vibrant and true and just gold, you know, like something that'll really brighten, kind of like this gold does. And for me, it just really fell flat. It pairs beautifully with these other greens over here, but unfortunately, when I want a gold that pairs beautifully with reds and purples and blues. You know, I want a gold that really lends itself to the entire spectrum, to open the eye and just pair beautifully and like really just ombre that eye out, which is obviously one of my favorite ways to wear my eyes. And unfortunately, that one didn't do it for me. I've tried pairing it with a bunch of other colors in this palette. It pairs okay with these, but it really shines with the greens because, again, that older Hollywood gold color has green undertone to it and brown undertone that just pulls beautifully with that part of the palette. So for me, I can't tell you, I mean, it's not a bad price. I think it's like $30 some after you find a discount for it. I think that these types of colors are absolutely beautiful, but again, you are going to want to make sure on standby that you have a glitter glue, that you have a concealer, that you have a brush, you have some Fix Plus or some kind of a setting spray, because you will have to find the best way to manipulate these. I found that with these shimmers, I actually had to go in first with a wet brush, place a layer of it, and then while it was still damp, I had to place more shimmer over top of it. Otherwise, I could not get the shimmer to stick to my eye and look vibrant. I tried a glitter glue, and what that ended up doing, at least for me personally, was it dulled that shine, that sparkle, that vibrancy that I really loved about the color, which more specifically, this guy did it pretty bad. It just dulled it and it like sucked all the vibrancy out of it, and I didn't want that. I obviously, like, if I'm going to use a turquoise or a teal or this kind of a color, I want it to look, you know, exciting and poppy and bam on my lids, because that's, again, I want that look, that open, that vibrancy. And I was just really frustrated when, no matter how I tried to manipulate it, the best way for me to do it was a wet brush and then tapping on top of it with my finger anyway. So it was kind of like, I felt like you had to do a lot of extra work to work with this palette, and it was just, it was a little bit more frustrating at times. But then other times when I would go to just like reach for it and I would start to like develop my crease and I would start to develop the eye into whatever that final eye look would be, I always felt some sort of like pull and inspiration from this palette, because as I looked at it, I developed my crease and I would be like, okay, like I can pick anything, and literally whatever spectrum you're feeling or whatever, you know, kind of pop you're feeling, it's in here. You can pick, again, like a red, a pink, a mauve, a green, and there's some kind of variation of that in here. So it did kind of inspire me to try different colors, colors that I don't always gravitate towards, blues and greens. I don't always work with those. I've worked with blues a lot more lately, but still not something I always gravitate toward. I do think that overall, though, this is a very nice palette. I can't say that if I had to choose, again, between this or say the Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette, that I would choose this one, because I would probably still go with the Jaclyn Hill palette. I think that it has the most variation, and the main difference between that one and this one is that the fact that the other one has lighter shadows. It does have a way to brighten up your eye, to do that inner eye highlight, to even blend out your, you know, your center of your eye into the rest of your eye. It just offers more variation, more light tone. And I think that that's the kind of pop that even if there had just been one or two shades, like you could have replaced some of these, I'm very busy. You could have replaced some of these darker shades in here with a lighter pop. And in the pan, it might have looked a little off, but I feel like as far as usability and functionality, it would have made all the difference, at least in my personal opinion. So again, I think that it's good. I think if you get a nice big palette, I do think that you get your money's worth as far as shadow goes. But I think that it's something that if I were to buy it again, I bought mine. Did I get mine from Ulta? No, I got mine from Morphe. I got mine from Morphe. And if I were to buy it again, I would probably buy it from Ulta just because I would want to make sure that I was backed by Ulta's return policy. Not that I'm saying I want to like hate on this palette or return it, because I do think that it has really good things to offer, especially if you're like in the makeup industry, makeup, like you do other, what is that called? Makeup artist. There we go. Sweet Jesus, deliver me. If you're like a makeup artist, it really offers you a ton of variation, because this palette seriously would go with so many different skin tones. It has so many transitions, and it'd be a good, affordable way for someone to get started and learn about makeup and have a nice palette that they could use on multiple people. I almost said multiple subjects. Like, they're not experiments, Paige, they're people. But it would be a good way for someone like that to be able to learn, you know, manipulation of shadow and really get started affordably versus going like, oh, I need Marc Jacobs shadows or Inkblot shadows or, you know, something super expensive. This just gives them that footing to kind of begin their journey as a makeup artist. Or if you're someone, again, that's just into makeup, it's a good option. Again, I would probably still choose the Jaclyn Hill because it has a little more variation, but this is a good palette, and I love the concept behind it. I think that they were on point with the concept, you know, making sure that they had so warm and cold and all these different colors, and then the way that they put all the transitions in the middle and their larger pans. I mean, they're like double the size. I love that idea. And I do think that the transitions are okay, but I found myself too many times going in and I would build up my transition colors, or my transition in my eye using the transition colors. And too often I kept going, okay, well, I want to go with this color. Oh, well, that really doesn't match my transition because they're so warm and they just don't lend themselves to every single color in this palette. And I think that it, for me at least, I prefer to pair, you know, a cool tone with a cool tone and a warm tone with a warm tone. Crazy, I know. So for example, when I went in with these green turquoise, whoops, I'm sorry, this green turquoise shade down here, it didn't match, at least not to me, a lot of these transition shades. So I built up my transition a little, and then I had to switch to a darker color and really try to finesse and fluff that out to have the right kind of cool undertone that I was looking for to pair with this and then to pair with the black. And you know, it was just, I feel like these transition shades are a serious blessing if you know what you're doing and how to manipulate them and all that. But you know, just be mindful if you pick this palette up that those are something that you just want to watch. Don't assume that because they're the transition shades that they will pair with every single color, because in my personal opinion they don't pair that well with every single color, but they are an amazing base and I do love them. And again, I love the concept. All right, you guys, that is it for this video. I hope that this was a good short review, gives you guys a little bit of a break. And I just wanted to give you guys like my thoughts on this palette. I actually had one of you reach out to me on Instagram and you were like, hey girl, did you try it? What do you think? And I thought that it would be a good time to pop on here and tell you guys what I think. So don't forget to check my description box for all my other social media handles, because we all know that's important. And I really hope that you guys enjoy this eye look, because I was a little bit concerned, but I feel like it does such a good job at like opening up my eyes and having them just snatch out versus like, I don't know. I love this. I'm really digging it. I just hope my eyeliner is like staying put and my mascara is not smudging. By the way, these are not fake lashes. Isn't that crazy? Those are my eyelashes. Like, I have done so much work trying to develop my eyelashes. Girl, someday I will do a full video on that. But you guys, I hope you have a great day, night, weekend, whatever it is when you're watching this. And I will see you in the next one. Bye. I almost got my fingers going too early. Morphe palette. Dare to create, dare to love and shine again. Maybe I just love singing way more than I thought I did. My voice is raspy. None of that was relevant. So here's the palette.